This video is on paper basket weaving, and it is part of the Fiber Art Center, and it's going to show you how to make a final project like this basket that you see here. The other two baskets that you see are in progress. At the Fiber Art Center, there is a packet that has directions for weaving a paper basket that looks something like this. And on the second page here, it shows you how to start the basket out. And the materials that you'll need are a 3x9 rectangle, a 4x8 rectangle, a ruler, a pencil, a pair of scissors, and a glue stick. To get started, I've got my 3x9 inch rectangle here, and I'm going to match the ruler up so that the 0 is lined up against here, and then 2.5 inches in, I'm just going to make a little mark, and then another 2.5 inches from this end, so 1, 2.5, I'm going to make a mark on this one. And then I'm going to go down to my 4x8 rectangle here, and I'm going to do the same thing, so 2.5 inches from this edge, and then 2.5, so 1, 2.5 from this edge here. And that's going to make it so that when I go to glue it, move this ruler out of the way here, now I can turn it, and I know that this piece of paper needs to fit in between these two marks, and these two marks help me line it up on the opposite piece of paper. So it should be lined up just like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my glue stick, and right between these two marks here, that's where I'm going to put the glue. Then I will flip it over and line those marks up. You want to line those up just like that. Now that I've got things glued down, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make marks for cutting the things that I'm going to use to make the basket. So I'm going to go around, and every 1 inch I'm going to put a mark just near the edge. So at the 1 and at the 2 on here, so that splits that into 3 pieces. Then I'm going to go around here, and at the 1, the 2, the 3, and I'm going to go around here and do this side again at the 1 inch, at the 2 inch mark. Okay. Now the third one, the fourth one here, you want to make sure that things are uneven. So if I were to cut this, I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 even sections, and I want to make sure that I have an uneven number. So on the last one, instead of doing 1 inch sections, I'm going to break it into 1 1/4. So 1 1/4 I'm going to mark, move the ruler over, and then mark again 1 1/4. So instead of breaking this up into 4 sections, I'm breaking it up into 3. This is 3 and this is 4. So that way I have an uneven number of sections. I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 sections. The next step is to go right on those marks that you made with your scissors and cut them all the way down to the board. You just turn it and do that to each side. Now that I've gone around and cut everything, I'm going to want to try to take those flaps and kind of bend them up to try to form that basket. So I bend the 3 up on this side, bend the 3 up on this side as well, and this side. Got 4, and then this side I have 3 again. So I bend those up so it's kind of looking like the formation of the basket. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and choose the colors that I'm going to use for my basket. And so the 3 colors I've chosen are some neutral colors today. So I'm going to take about an arm's length of whatever color I'm going to start with. Okay, so I've chosen this brown color to start, and I'm just going to kind of tuck it inside here. This is tricky when you get started, so I'm just going to tuck that in. If it helps you, you could take like a little piece of tape and just tape that down so that it doesn't wiggle around on you. So I tape that in there. Now I'm going to do it just like I'm weaving. So if I go around the outside of the first, then I go around the inside, then the outside. Now around this corner I need to go on the inside. It's just like when you're weaving though. You don't want to go too loose and you don't want to go too tight. So there I'm going around the inside, outside, inside. Now this one's going to go around the outside. And you just keep weaving every other piece as you're going around, and you also need to make sure, just like when you're weaving, that you're packing down the yarn so that the yarn isn't creeping up to the top of your box. It should go all the way down to the inside down in there. So I'm coming around. Now I've ended going on the outside of this one. So just as it is showing correctly, I need to go inside this one. So I'm going inside, and I'm making sure that I'm kind of pulling that yarn tight so it's kind of holding up that wall, and yet I want to make sure it's loose enough so that it covers all the other pieces. So over, under, packing it down as I go along. This is not an easy basket to make. And I just keep going over and under. Bring these pieces if they're falling down. Now that one has that to kind of help keep it up. And I just keep following that pattern, going in front and then behind and in front. Now this one would go behind and in front and behind. Okay, now it looks like I'm back around to the top. So I'm going to kind of work on packing it down. When I've gotten to the end of that color, it's just like weaving. You want to leave a tail and then just start with a new color. So since this one ended going behind this strip here, this next one has to go in front. So I'm going to put the tail inside the box and bring this one around the front, then around the back of the next one, around the front, and just gonna kind of continue my pattern. And as I keep on weaving, the strength of the yarn and pulling it tight should help kind of build the walls of your basket and help them kind of stay sturdy. You need to take the time as you're going along to make sure that you're pulling tight enough, and also that you're pushing the yarn down as you're going along. It's very important that you're not just kind of, this can go really quickly and you can get carried away, but as you go along you really need to make sure that you're packing things down and that you're really mindful of the tightness of your string. So now I'm back around to the front of this, and I'm just going to keep going until I run out of color, and then I'm going to switch colors again until I get all the way to the top of this basket. Now, once you're to the top, so you can see I've been weaving, and I just kind of need to be packing that down a little bit more to fit more yarn in there. Okay, and I'm using kind of a thicker yarn for this one too. When you get a little bit nearer to the top like you do in here, you can take those tails and tie them in like you would when you're done finishing a weaving. You can tie them in knots, and then you can even take a ribbon like you see here, a ribbon from the Collage Center, and fold it carefully over the edge and use glue to glue that down to kind of give it a more finished look. Okay, this is a video on weaving a paper basket. There are directions at the Drawing Center, and you can also ask one of your art teachers if you have any more questions.